And now to our election coverage. 5 communities in the Alexandria Metropolitan Statistical Area, which covers Rapides and Grant parishes, are all getting new aldermen. The race between Sheila Brown and Amanda Clark for alderman in the town of Cheneyville went to Miss Brown by a margin of 44. And over in the town of Glenmora, voters had 3 choices today for aldermen. The vote was up between Republicans Matt Rowland, Justin Sharp, and David Dunson Jr., who ran under no party. Matt Rowland won that race with 124 votes. And Kimberly Closner ran unopposed to become the new Republican alderman for the village of McNary. Over in Grant Parish, Republican candidate Benjamin Nettles is the new alderman for the village of Dry Prong. And Republican Eleazar Garcia became the newest alderman for the village of Creola after fellow Republican candidates Crystal Hicks and Leona Ritchie withdrew entirely from the race. And one race that did not make it to the voter polls is the run for Division E in the 9th Judicial District Court. Mr. Brian Sespiva ran unopposed for that judgeship. He announced his candidacy a few months after Judge Patricia Cook's impending retirement was revealed back in March. Cook, who spent 20 years as a general jurisdiction judge for the 9th JDC, is set to leave the position next week on the 15th. And down in the south in Evangeline Parish, voters in District 8 elected a new school board member. The race between fellow Democrats Jerry Botley and the recently appointed Kimberly Coleman came down to a 128 vote difference, with Jerry Mr. B. Botley pulling out ahead. Coleman, according to Evangeline Today, was appointed earlier this year to fill a vacancy left by Wanda Fontenot, who was removed for not living in the District 8 area. Now, Botley will take the seat for the next 4 years.